Good morning and welcome back to Mobility Matters. I'm your host, Javier Betancourt, Executive Director of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, or CITT. We're the quasi-independent agency of Miami-Dade County charged with overseeing your half-penny sales tax for transportation. Now, in truth, I'm just with the office of the CITT. I'm a county employee. The CITT is actually composed of 15 volunteer members from our community, from all walks of life, one appointed by the mayor, one appointed by the Miami-Dade League of Cities, and the other 13 appointed by each of our 13 county commissioners. Today we have a three-time repeat guest, the outgoing chair of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust and the District 4 appointee to the trust, Robert Wolfarth. Robert, welcome back to the program.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, Javier. I'm very happy to be part of the Three Timers Club. I understand that
it's a very exclusive club.
Apparently, because only I and Executive Director Eileen Bouclé of the TPO is on that. So thank you very much. And it's a privilege here to finish out my chairmanship, which ended 2 days ago after 2 years. It's an honor and a privilege to serve the Miami-Dade community and the taxpayers. And the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, I think our primary focus is really the watchdog of the half-penny sales tax that went into effect about 22 years ago. And along with that was voted on was a board, a trust, to oversee those funds to make sure that they were used for the expansion of rapid transportation.
Yeah. And we believe that was a key part of why that ballot initiative passed, right?
Yeah, because it did not pass 2 times before that. And
when there wasn't an oversight.
When there wasn't an oversight. So the taxpayers really wanted to make sure. And so we really are diligent in our job to make sure that many parts of the of transportation in Miami-Dade, and particularly the SMART program that's going to be that is implemented. So we want to make sure that those PTP funds are leveraged with state funds, with federal funds, so that we get the biggest bang for our buck. And I'm a big proponent of P3 projects.
Right, public-private partnerships. Yeah.
Absolutely. We had a great example of that with the Aventura station that opened up.
And we'll get to that because that's actually how you started your journey with us. So let's go back for those who maybe didn't watch the first couple of episodes and don't know anything about you. Talk to us about your background and your journey to the CITT. How did you end up in this role?
Well, sure. So I'm a native Miamian, actually a fourth-generation Miamian. My grandparents came down here on both sides, early part of last century. And so I grew up in the Morningside neighborhood, now called Upper East Side. Wasn't so fancy when I was growing up there. And I went away to school to study architecture at Cornell University and the University of Florida. And I did an internship out in San Diego. Called my dad up one night and I said, I really miss Miami.
Yeah.
So
happens to a lot of us, yeah.
I very quickly moved back to Miami, settled in Miami Beach, and was kind of part of that, that kind of catalyst that kind of got Miami Beach going again. And so I developed a real estate career, did a lot of single family and multifamily apartment building conversions to condominium, expanded to a lot of the transportation areas, particularly around Dadeland Mall, where it was very close to Dadeland South and Dadeland North. And just made a career out of it, expanded out to 3 counties. When I live in District 4, as you mentioned, and at the time, Commissioner Sally Heyman reached out to me and asked me if I would serve on the CITT for District 4. There was a very important project that was coming into being, and she was really the catalyst and the spark to really get the Aventura station going as kind of like a terminus point to the future Northeast corridor that was part of the SMART, that is part of the SMART program.
And as I recall, I believe you also served on the planning board for the city of Miami Beach, so you had some background and experience already in public service yourself. Right?
Absolutely. And so I was in the developer spot on the planning board for the city of Miami Beach, and I really learned a whole lot about because I come from the private industry, right? And so it's very different when you're sitting on these government boards. So I really learned a lot, and I think that gave me kind of like a head start to be able to understand how the CITT works, how we work with the Department of Transportation and Public Works, how we work with Miami-Dade administration, how we work with the Florida Department of Transportation, the FTA,
and all the acronyms.
All
you
the
name
acronyms,
it, we work with them.
And also a lot of the activists that are out there that are transportation activists as well.
who are great, right? Because that's an important piece of the puzzle, and those are in many ways the people that we represent. We're here to represent the citizenry and the community.
That's right, because it's ultimately about what the public wants also. And so a lot of their input is part of the process of design of where we need to have our transportation set out. So yeah, they really are a very important part of the community.
Since we're talking about the board and how you came on board, would you advise others who are interested in transportation to take a look at the CITT as a potential form of participation?
Absolutely. I mean, I think this is one of the reasons that the trust exists, right? So that we can get citizen input on how we design and how we use the funds for transportation for Miami-Dade County. And so I know I've been on the trust for 6 years. It'll be 6 years this month. And that term has been very effective. We've accomplished so much in that time period, and especially over the past 2 years while I was chair. And so if you are interested and you have thoughts about transportation, if you're in an area of the county, because as our executive director mentioned, we are a board of 15 and each county commissioner appoints from their district. Right now we have district 9, 10, and 12, which are basically Southwest and West Dade. And if you are interested in joining, please, you should go to our website, which is miamidade.gov/CITT, and you can learn how to become a member, and you can make application. You can reach out to our executive director.
And I would encourage anyone who's interested, regardless of whether there's a vacancy, to apply, because even if there's someone in that seat, they may be termed out at some point, and we'll have those applications kept on file for the future. So it's been a great experience, I know, for Chairman Wolfarth, and everyone who has served seems to enjoy it and feels like they make a difference. So we do encourage people to apply. All right, so let's fast forward. You started 6 years ago. Your first meeting was probably one of the most critical ones we've had. It was the approval of the Brightline Aventura Station project, as you said. And ironically enough, your last meeting as chair also kind of dealt with that topic, and we'll get to that. But let's talk about your chairmanship. We have our terms for chair are 2 years. And a lot can happen in those 2-year timeframes, even though transportation projects tend to take a long time. For whatever reason, your tenure really covered a lot of ground. So talk to us about some of the things that were accomplished or some of the initiatives that were launched under your chairmanship.
Well, sure. And I'll go back to the SMART program because that's very important to me. And I think one of the first, we have about 6 or so legs of the SMART plan going into all different areas of the county, east, west, north, and to the south. And I'm very excited because we've worked very hard on getting the South Corridor open, and that will be opening later this year. It's a 20-mile stretch from Dadeland South to Homestead with 14 iconic stations in between. This is going to be BRT, Bus Rapid Transit, Metro Express, and we have preemption on this line as well. So arms will come down so that...
Just like a train, right?
Just
arms will come down to keep traffic from coming in.
That's right. And so we have about 40-something buses that are dedicated to the South Corridor. They are electric buses. Also, during the past 2 years, we have developed the South Dade Transit Operations Center as well. And so 15 months ago, they started construction on this. We just did a tour of that facility. They have topped out on it. It's a massive complex, and they're getting ready to open phase 1. Phase 1 will electrify those buses, and it's the most updated electric system because they'll be able to do 2 buses at a time.
It was really impressive. I don't think I've ever seen a development go up that quickly. Certainly not one coming from the public sector.
And that's why I was hesitant on the vote to devote those PTP funds to that center down there because I didn't think it could be done. But kudos to the administration, to DTPW, to the architects, the engineers, the construction contractors. They've done an excellent job doing that. And so this...
And it's a state-of-the-art facility. It's not like they were just putting up a box. This was a complex structure to electrify hundreds of buses. And it's the first of its type in the nation, purpose-built electric charging center, right?
Exactly. I think it's on a 19-acre campus or something like that. So, so that that will be a game changer because not only that, we have micromobility, first mile, last mile, that will be able to connect to the spine of the South Corridor. We have the South Dade Trail, which is going to be connecting to the Underline, which will end in Dadeland. So you're going to have this continuous space from basically the Miami River all the way down to Homestead, but that'll be a public trail that our residents will be able to use.
Look, and we know that some people were hoping for, expecting Metro Rail, and may be disappointed that they're getting bus rapid transit instead. But the reality is this service is going to act very much like a train would have. In some ways, it might even be better because, it has more flexibility built into it. And the stations are even nicer than Metro Rail stations because they're air conditioned and they're at ground level, so they're more accessible.
Yeah.
So, what I'm telling people is give it a try. Give it a try before you judge it, and I think they're going to be pleasantly surprised.
Well, it's ground level boarding too.
Yes.
So that's ADA compliant. You feel like you're walking into a train, and to a lot of our members when we were voting on this, it was important that in the future, when we do have ridership increase,
that's right,
that we'll be able to transition into a Metro Rail system that will continue on the way down. So we will have that ridership. I'm sure of it because we have a lot of exciting development that's happening off of a lot of the TODs, transit-oriented development.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah. So that's a good pivot point. Given your background in development and land use, I know this is a topic of particular interest for you. First of all, for those who may not know, what is a TOD or TOC, and why is that important to the overall transportation and transit system?
Well, a TOD is transit-oriented development. So the reason this is important, and it happens on transit lines and hubs where stations are. I think this is really important for Miami-Dade County because we are built out. We are up to the Everglades UBD line. We're not going past that. I think there's consensus on the Miami-Dade Commission at this point in history that we are not going to infringe upon the Everglades anymore. We have Broward County to the north, we have Biscayne Bay and the Atlantic Ocean to the east. So we have to grow to be successful. We will grow. People are moving down here. And so one of the smart ways to develop is on transportation lines and on transit-oriented development. Some of the advantages is that you get increased FAR, floor area ratio, which means you get greater density in appropriate areas, because that's very important too. You have to have community buy-in.
Can be context sensitive, absolutely.
That's right. You have lesser parking requirements because people will be able to travel on transit and they'll be able to get to their schools, they'll be able to get to their jobs, they'll be able to see family, go grocery shopping. And we have a lot of examples of very successful and completed TODs that have already been
there were a ton that have either been opened or launched under your tenure. I mean, I have never seen that much activity in TODs than I've seen in these past few years. So they've really made it a priority. The development community is responsive because, like you said, where else are they going to go? Yeah. So what are some of those projects that...
Well, and there's incentives for the developers as well. And so that's important also. And the county makes certain requirements. We have student housing, like in South Miami Station. We have increased affordable housing in some of the other ones. So just off of our original Metro line, we have several that have been completed and are in the process of being finished. We have Grove Station, for instance. Beautiful, beautiful complex. And I think that the height is an appropriate area because we don't want too much height in certain neighborhoods. So I think we're up to like 13 stories or something like that in Cocoa Grove Station. Some areas may demand a little bit more height, may agree or not about Douglas Station and the height there, but you do have the density. And what we're able to do, because a lot of these are the original stations that are along Metro Rail that it's now over 40 years old, is we were able to get the developer for Grove Station to come in and renovate Grove Station. And I think to some extent also on Douglas Station. South Miami is another area, another station that's very successful. And so we will be having more TODs coming as we complete the South Corridor. We're going to be having Homestead TOD. There's one on 168th Street, I believe. And then we have another one in Cutler Bay and Perrine.
The Southland Mall, which is going to be an enormous redevelopment, and introduce a lot of great components there too. So. So once we get that, ridership up, we can improve the transit that was promised to that community so long ago. So South Corridor, very exciting. And again, give it a try, folks. I think you'll enjoy the experience and save a ton of time. What are some of the other corridors that kind of had advanced under your tenure? Let's talk about one that's near and dear to your heart, Northeast.
Northeast corridor is from a big part in my district, District 4. Yeah. And so what that will do is that will carry us from Miami Central Station, which, by the way, over the past 2 years, we also got Tri-Rail to come in there. So Miami Central is an incredibly beautiful station. You know, Miami in its very early days had a train station.
It's the TODs of TODs. I mean, literally the housing is built over the train tracks.
And where it should be, because that's downtown. So you're going to have much more density in that area. But here, you know, there you have not only our Better Bus Network that's in there, but Miami Trolleys that are in there, micro mobility that's in there. But we have Tri-Rail. Right. We have the Metro Mover. We have
it's
Metro
our Grand
Rail.
Central Station.
And it really is. And it's really a pleasure to go in there. Brightline did a beautiful job doing that. So that's going to carry us north up to Aventura Station that's been already completed. And we are going to have some stations in between. Right. I hear between 3 and 5 stations.
Yeah, somewhere there.
Somewhere in that. One that will definitely take place is on a FIU station, they'll call it, because it's on 151st Street. So that's going to be
the FIU Biscayne campus.
That's a FIU Biscayne campus, exactly, on Northeast 151st Street. We're going to have another one, I think, around 79th Street to carry
79th Street, and then I believe the other 2 around Wynwood and Design District.
Yeah, there's going to be 2 that are closer together, and I think that could be appropriate because as you move further to downtown, you have much more density, and you're going to have people that are going to want the Design District, and you're going to have and Wynwood area and Midtown area, and there we have some other opportunities for some P3 partnerships with some developers that are in there, and you know, we don't need fancy stations for that. Basically, a platform people can get on and off, make it very simple. So it doesn't need to be grandiose.
And so, where are we with the Northeast Corridor? I mean, and by the way, just for those who may not know. They say, well, we already have Brightline. Well, Brightline, it's the same tracks, but Brightline is running kind of a premium service at a premium cost.
Yes.
Right, and is not going to be stopping necessarily at all those interim stations. So this is a commuter rail alternative or complement to the Brightline service that will run on the same tracks, stop at those local stations, but at a much more affordable price point, right? So just to differentiate those projects. But where are we with that project?
Yeah,
is it moving forward?
I believe it is moving forward. We have been on an excellent track.
No pun intended.
I really want to thank the chair of the Transportation Committee for Miami-Dade County, Commissioner Eileen Higgins. She has spent an inordinate amount of time in Washington, D.C., securing those funds.
And Tallahassee as well.
And Tallahassee as well. And so we had a little hiccup with Tallahassee. And but I think that those funds, it was inadvertently left out of the last legislature. I think it will be put back in so that we can match those funds.
That's what we hear.
That's what we hear.
Fingers crossed.
So we're about, you know, $1 billion project, getting this done. You know, the monies are divided up. I think it's not equal, but we have a designated PTP funds.
Which we already approved.
Those are earmarked. Yep. We have the state funds and we have the federal funds. Yep. So right now, I think we are in the engineering phase of the study. We had got a very high medium approval for the density for the use. So that's why we got $486 million, I think, designated from the FTA for that. And that was approved in the last administration. Now it just needs to be approved through Congress.
Okay, so those South Corridor for sure going to open. Northeast Corridor looks pretty promising. Another 3 corridors are kind of in the works, right? And we continue to pursue those. So that's the Beach Corridor, again, something near and dear to you. The East-West Corridor and the North Corridor.
Yeah.
So those are in what stage of development?
Well, the North Corridor, I happen to be very excited about. I talked about TODs and density, and there you have community buy-in. Right. And so when you have where our Metro Rail kind of goes up to a northern part before it turns, it's an MLK Junior station. And the vision is to have elevated hard rail on Northwest 27th Avenue going up to the stadium. And
to the Broward County line even. I think it goes a little beyond,
Yeah, to the Broward County line, because we have a lot of commuters that come in. So we're trying to participate and work with Broward County as well, because transportation just doesn't stop at the county line.
No. And we're one region.
Yeah, we are one transportation region. And so it's in its study right now. I know that Miami-Dade is committed PTP funds. we will be committed to putting those funds. I think it's an extremely important corridor. And again, this part of the community was promised elevated hard rail 22 years ago when this was voted on.
And even further than that, right? They've been promises since the beginning of Metro Rail, I believe. So
absolutely.
We definitely owe that to the community. And it'd be a great project with a lot of economic development potential. So, and I know you've been a champion of that throughout your tenure, not only as chair, but as a member. So, and then East-West?
East-West, we have 2 park and rides that we've opened. We have Dolphin, and we have the
Tamiami?
Yeah, Tamiami one. So Dolphin, they're going to be breaking ground early next year for a TOD there, which is very exciting.
It's actually kind of cool because it's a suburban TOD, which is a bit unusual. To your point earlier, TODs tend to take place in these urbanized areas.
Right.
And here we have one, on the western outskirts of our county. So it just proves the point that these people want these. They want to live near transit.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Especially younger people that are moving into Miami-Dade, and so we have a lot of young people who are moving in from urban areas like New York, for instance, or San Francisco, where they have the BART system, and so they're used to having this transportation, and that's why like urban areas like Brickell, Edgewater, and downtown are very appealing to them because you don't even need a car to get around in a lot of those areas. Another corridor that we're looking at right now is the Beach Corridor. We definitely have the ridership there, very, very dense from an extension of Metro Mover maybe to some landing point onto Miami Beach. The county has heard the city of Miami Beach and their concerns. So the county is addressing those concerns because we want to be respectful. Some of the concerns are the density that we mentioned earlier. Yeah. So this is a historic district that it would land in. So we are very protective of our historic districts, very protective. And we already have a lot of density that's on the west side of that area right now, which is about Collins Avenue and 6th Street. And so we don't necessarily need the density in a TOD in that particular area because we already have heavy ridership that would be there.
Right.
So I know that there's yet another, that's almost like another $1 billion project that we're working on right now. PTP funds have been allocated for that. I think we have a certain amount of funds for the state that's allocated to that. I wish we could get the feds involved in that because we do have such high ridership. I think it would be in their interest to maybe, open up the conversation. I know Commissioner Higgins will still be an advocate, as well as Commissioner Regalado, who is the vice chair right now of the Transportation Committee. So we have wonderful leadership. We have a great new director of DTPW, Director Stacy Miller. She used to be District 6 Secretary for FDOT, so she knows this area very, very well. And so I'm very happy. We have a great relationship with DTPW, especially now under her leadership. And she's got a great connection in Tallahassee and by way of Tallahassee through the federal government as well. Absolutely.
And check out the program with Director Miller. She was on when she was FDOT District 6 Secretary. We'll have her on hopefully in the near future now as DTPW Director. So let's shift gears a little bit. We talked about the PTP project. Let's talk about the CITT and some of the initiatives that were kind of either launched or enhanced under your tenure. A lot happened there as well, especially in the area of community engagement. So I think we're both on the same page that one of the important roles we play at the CITT is to inform and educate the public on what's happening with their taxpayer dollars and also to hear back from the public on what they want. So what are some of those initiatives that have either been launched or have grown under you?
Well, let's see. Let's pick one first. So I'm going to pick the community outreach and engagement, where we've been going to a lot of the municipalities under Chair Meg Daly's guide. And I think it was a great suggestion that she had to reach out to community. She's very community-oriented.
She is. And she's the chair of the Community Engagement Committee, right?
That's correct. And she's now, congratulations, Meg, she's now our second vice chair. Right. So I'm very happy about that. We have great officers now that are on the CITT. But we, and you particularly, along with staff, have been going out to a lot of municipal, commissions and committees and presenting and educating not only elected officials, but a lot of the constituents that are there as well about what we do as the CITT, how can we help you, what kind of feedback can we get. And I've been to a few of these meetings with you, Bay Harbor, for instance, Miami Beach, and the Chambers of Commerce, and it's it's really incredible. When we are done presenting, we'll stick around maybe for a little bit, and then we have people chase us out, asking us questions about the Better Bus Network. And if we can't answer the questions, we at least get them in the right direction.
Right.
But that community engagement is incredible because a lot of these people are transportation advocates and just riders and users. They have some really great ideas. So I think we've closed out. I think we've done just about every municipality.
Yeah. All but a couple who didn't invite us, so which is fine.
Yeah.
All municipalities and dozens of additional community groups.
Yeah, and
like you said, chambers. We have civic associations. You name it.
Yeah, and you still have a calendar full of events that you're going to be going to.
And I should add, if you're interested in having a PTP presentation, please reach out to us, and we'll be happy to come to wherever you are and provide that update.
Yeah. Another thing that we've been really great and I'm very excited about is our ambassador program.
Yes.
So we did not have an ambassador program when I started. And so, great idea from the office, particularly you were the catalyst for this. And so it's very much appreciated. But we basically, 2.5 years ago, right before I became chair, started with just a small handful of ambassadors. So our ambassador program are people that are out there riding transit. They can apply and go online to miamidade.gov/CITT, and they can find out about our ambassador program. But what you do is you give feedback through an app, and you get rewards for the amount that you give the feedback. And it's extremely helpful because we use this feedback to get back with DTPW so that we can improve the service for the community.
Right.
So you are our eyes and ears that are out there. We have become a model for really the country. A lot of other transportation jurisdictions, I've reached out to the office of CITT asking for information about our ambassador program.
Nothing quite like this exists out there. So we kind of had to create it from scratch. And I have to give all that credit, by the way, to the program coordinator, Cheryl Mizell, who really just built this out of nothing. And no time at all, we're up to 200 ambassadors, right? So
absolutely.
Now we're still looking for more, to your point.
Yeah, so, we'll be celebrating 3 years next year, and I know we have a goal of 300 ambassadors, so if you would like to be an ambassador, you should really apply. We've also started our ambassador recognition programs, too. Right. So on a monthly basis, we recognize our ambassador of the month based upon the surveys that they do and the points that they get. We recognize our ambassadors of the quarter that go before the Transportation Committee at Miami-Dade County Commission, and we recognize our ambassador of the year. And we had our second ambassador of the year last year at Casa Cuba in South Miami, where Mayor Danielle Levine Cava joined us to present our ambassador of the year. And it was co-hosted with Miami Community Newspapers.
That's right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
And it was the house was packed.
Yeah.
I could not believe it. And so it seemed like everybody was there. So that brings kind of recognition to the program that we've done.
Absolutely.
So I'm very, very proud of that program as well.
You've been a huge champion, so we thank you for that. Yeah. And you've always been at those meetings where they're recognized. I think you take a lot of joy in that, so thank you. Let's finish up the community engagement conversation with this little podcast I've heard of. Have you? Oh, no, not yet. Not yet, guys. This little podcast that we have here. What's it called again?
Oh, Mobility Matters.
Oh, thank you.
Mobility Matters is, I think, what number? You're almost at 100 shows.
We're almost at 100 shows. Can you believe that?
No.
Yeah,
well, I've done 3 of the 100. So
thank you for that. We might bring you back for the next 40.
And it's been amazing because this show is so important because transportation really affects everybody's lives, right? And so, you just don't bring on transportation experts, right? Although that's very important. Right. But you bring in other experts for the community. Environmental, for instance,
all the issues that intersect with transportation.
All the issues that intersect with transportation.
Which is practically everything.
Right. And so, this program has been really amazing. I'm very proud of it. And, to 100 more shows.
Thank you. And we'll get you into the 5-Timers Club at some point, right? Just like SNL. So you got a couple more to go.
Yeah.
So one last thing, and then we'll move to something I want to show you. You're the outgoing chair.
Yes.
You've had an amazing run. And really, what you've done as chairman, there's no comparison, right? I mean, you've really put your heart and your time into doing it. You are the most prepared person, at our meetings. And so thank you for that. We have an incoming chair, Mary Street, who was elected at our last meeting. Any parting words of wisdom for her?
Well, first of all, congratulations, Chair Street. I think you're going to be a fantastic chair. I learned a lot from the two chairs that were prior to me, Chair Oscar Brennan and Chair Joe Corbello, who ran professional, succinct meetings where they allowed the public to come in and speak. They were respectful to all people that came up to the podium. They let all members have an opportunity to speak on an item, anything that they wanted to. It was civil. And I'll tell you, I don't credit that to me. I credit that to the members that we have, because we have a incredible professional diversity of the membership that we have there. We come from every district of Miami-Dade County. We come from every single different background.
Right, every profession.
Every profession, and it really adds a whole lot. And, we are all very civil with each other. And, and I think, she is, she's very smart. So I have confidence in her running a meeting very well. And I think, she is, I would say engagement with the community is very important. Let us, you are now the spokesperson for the CITT. And so I think that that's very important when you're going out to the community and you're representing the CITT. And so, I know you'll be well versed on the issues, as you already have. You've been a member for many years, and you're very eloquent, well spoken, and you ask the smart questions on the items that come up. And so I have every faith in you, and I think you're going to do really well. So that's my advice to her.
Okay. Agreed, and I have no doubt that she will represent the CITT well. And speaking of that, I think the members felt that you really represented the CITT well as an organization and as a body, and that you gave all the credit to the members, but really that decorum, that level of collegiality really starts at the top. The chairman really sets the tone. And so the board members felt so strongly about it that they gave you a little parting gift. And let's see if we can cue that up now.
It also comes from the executive director.
Oh, he has nothing to do with it.
And a phenomenal staff.
Absolutely.
I have to mention your phenomenal staff. So the staff is incredible, and they do the heavy lifting for us. What do we have here?
Well, we have a little video that we spliced together. And let's see. This is the first time we do this here on Mobility Matters, so we're going to see how it works out.
Yeah. Well, I like the montage so far.
There we go. I don't think you have enough time for me to share all the wonderful things I have to say about Robert. He has been not only a great board member, but a superb leader of the CITT and chair of this organization.
We're coming to the end of your great reign. As I like to say, you're the good Robert, or Robert the Great. You've really taught us a lot over the last few years.
He is classy, he is decent, he listens.
He is effective, he knows his stuff.
You're a really good person with integrity and transparency, and you're there to do the work and to serve the broader community.
His positive, his impactfulness.
Rob, you've been a fantastic chair. Your leadership and the way you really stepped in and took charge.
You're super committed. You come to every meeting prepared with exceptional commentary and very thoughtful feedback and very respectful way that you deal with your fellow board members.
He is the second chair, I think, that I've experienced being on the board, and he's been a wonderful example. He's been so engaged.
He's on point. He treats everyone with dignity and respect.
You've taught us about leadership. You've taught us about standing up for what we believe in. You taught us about fiscal responsibility.
He knows everything, every project, in and out.
Your leadership as chairman has truly fostered an open environment. Members feel free to express their views.
And his respectfulness towards others, and the way you run the meetings, and how active you are in the community.
You run a really good meeting, and you cover a lot of material in a short time. I'm sorry to see you go and step down, but I'm telling you, I've loved every minute working alongside you.
It made it a lot easier for me to be able to come back, because I always knew that there would be some way, somehow I'd be able to get my point across and be heard and speak on behalf of those people that depend on me to speak for them.
Your tireless efforts to champion sustainable transportation solutions have made a lasting impact.
He's never lost his cool. He's never told anyone, he's always let everyone to finish their discussions, and he's always kept the decorum of the meeting, which I think is very important.
I'd really like to thank him for being so supportive of our members, always being there at any event, any function, any committee meeting.
I don't know how anybody is going to meet or exceed the standard that he has set. So sad to see him go.
And I am very grateful for the leadership that he's given to the trust. He's going to be sorely missed.
And I want to say thank you for your years of service on the CITT as chair.
Thank you. You will be sorely missed, and I hope to ride bikes with you again in the Netherlands.
Take care, brother. Thank you so much for all of your service. You've been a shining example to myself.
Thank you for being a driving force for positive change in our community.
Thank you again for your leadership. I look forward to continuing to work with you on CITT. We wish you the very best in your future endeavors.
And Robert, thank you for being a true mobility champion. We wouldn't have won this wonderful award without you. This one's for you, buddy.
Speechless when I hear a lot of the members speak. I hear them speaking about the trust in general because it's reciprocal, right? You know, so when you have respectful people, you know, you tend to be respectful to them. So
absolutely, and in this day and age, by the way, we're like a shining light, and because a lot of decorum is not what we're witnessing in other places.
Yeah,
so.
Well, our goal is transportation, and I think we're really on board with that. We tend to not agree on everything and how we get there, but, you know, we generally come to consensus at the end in a very respectful way. That was a beautiful video. I'm like...
Well, as you can see, it was all very heartfelt. You've really been an amazing chair. Now, the good news is you're not going anywhere. You're going to stay on as a member, right?
I will.
Okay, we're going to hold you to that because you really offer such valuable input and feedback, and you've just been amazing. So I look forward to continuing to work with you for many years to come.
Many years. I'm the second longest running trust member at this point.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah,
so you're going to have to break that record. So stay on. Folks, that's all the time we have here on Mobility Matters. I want to thank you, Robert, for number one, appearing as my guest for the third time, part of the Three Timers Club, and for really everything you do to try to make our community a better place.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Director. Again, you are such great support and great leadership, and the staff that you have is beyond exception.
Absolutely.
You know,
including those here in the background that no one can see.
Including everybody here, Joey, Carla. Thank you, guys.
Right, folks. Thanks again. I also want to thank our partners in this endeavor, Miami's Community News, for continuing to host and produce this program. And you can catch us here every other Thursday from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. And visit us on our website for more information, miamidade.gov/CITT. Apply to become a member. Apply to become an ambassador. Check out some of our previous nearly 100 episodes. A lot of good information there. So with that, until next time, keep moving, Miami.